All right, let's dive into something a little different today.
Ooh, sounds fun.
It might sound a little out there to some folks, but we're going to be talking about vibrating at a higher frequency.
Okay, I'm intrigued already.
So we found this article online. It's called Instantly Vibrate with Your Parallel Version in Fifth Dimension. 10x boost.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
I know, right?
10x boost, though. That catches the eye.
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder what they're talking about.
Definitely. Like, what's the secret? What can
Exact.
we learn from this, even if we don't necessarily, buy into every single thing they're saying?
Right, exactly. So the first thing this article really hits on is this idea that you are energy.
Hmm.
And I think, we've probably all heard that before, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But they take it a little bit further and say, we're not just physical beings. We're
Yeah.
actually like vibrating energy fields.
Yeah, it's like we're more than just, flesh and bone.
And they say that our thoughts and emotions and actions, like all of it, affects our vibrational frequency.
And, that's actually pretty consistent with, like, basic physics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everything in the universe is made up of energy that vibrates at different frequencies. I mean, think about sound waves, right? Different frequencies, they create different notes.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's the same with light and even, down to the atoms that make up our bodies.
So are you saying like we're basically just like walking, talking symphonies of energy then?
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
And this article is suggesting that the frequency at which we vibrate, it influences our reality.
So that's where this fifth dimension thing comes in then.
Yeah.
The article says there's a version of us, like a fifth dimension self, already living our best life in another dimension.
Right.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure about the other dimensions part, but I am curious about this best life version of myself.
Yeah. It's really using fifth dimension more as a metaphor, I think. It's not so much about a literal place, but more like a state of being, a state where we're already operating at our highest potential. You can think of it like a blueprint or like a possibility space
Okay.
where everything you dream of is already happening.
So it's like this fifth dimension self is like a supercharged, like the best version of us,
Exactly.
just waiting to be like tapped into.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the article says the distance between us and this ideal self, it's vibrational, not physical. So the key then becomes raising our vibration to match theirs.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. So how do we do that? How do we raise our vibration to connect with this amazing fifth dimension self?
The article really zeroes in on three main things:
Yeah.
awareness, intention, and being present.
Let's start with awareness then. What do they mean by that?
Yeah,
They talk about being mindful of the energy we're putting out through our thoughts and emotions.
exactly. It's all about paying attention to your inner state. Like, are you constantly stressed out and worried, or are you generally feeling calm and optimistic? Because all those thoughts and emotions, they create a sort of energetic ripple effect.
So you're saying if I'm walking around with like a negative mindset all the time, it's actually lowering my vibrational frequency.
That's what the article is suggesting, yeah.
Huh.
And they even give an example.
Huh.
You know those times when you're completely absorbed in something you love, like a deep conversation with a friend or maybe working on a creative project, and time just seems to fly by?
Yeah. I love those moments. It's like everything just flows.
And the article argues that in those moments, we're actually tapping into the fifth dimension without even realizing it.
Whoa, really?
We're vibrating at a higher frequency because we're fully present and engaged.
That's really interesting. So those moments of flow are like little glimpses into our fifth dimension potential then.
Exactly. And the articles suggest we can access that state more often by becoming more aware of our thoughts and emotions, and then consciously choosing to cultivate the ones that lift us up, the ones that make us feel good.
Okay, that makes sense. So awareness is step one. What about intention? The article spends a lot of time on that.
Yeah, intention is like setting a powerful inner compass that guides your thoughts, actions, and energy towards a specific outcome you want.
Okay.
It's about focusing your will and your energy on what you want to create.
So it's not enough to just like daydream about my fifth dimension self living this dream life.
Right.
I actually have to like set a clear intention to connect with that energy.
Exactly.
Mm.
And they suggest getting really specific about what that dream life looks like. What qualities do you want to embody? What kind of experiences do you want to have? What does success and happiness mean for you? And then hold that vision with unwavering intention.
Okay. I can see how that would start to shift your energy. If you're constantly focusing on your ideal reality and actually feeling into it, maybe it does start to like draw you closer to it.
It's almost like setting up a powerful magnet that attracts those experiences into your reality.
This is starting to sound a lot like the law of attraction.
Right.
I know you're familiar with that.
Yeah, there are definitely some parallels there. The law of attraction basically says that, like, attracts, like, so by focusing on positive thoughts and emotions, you attract more positivity into your life.
Right, right.
This article is taking it a step further by connecting it to this idea of vibrational frequency and the fifth dimension.
Got it. So we've got awareness, intention. What about that third element, being present?
Oh, yeah, they stress that a lot.
They do.
Being present is all about bringing your awareness fully into this moment,
Mm-hmm.
letting go of thoughts about the past or the future and just experiencing what is happening right now. The article says this is crucial for raising your vibration.
Why is that? Why is being present so important for like tapping into this higher frequency?
The article argues that our minds are constantly time traveling,
Mm-hmm.
either dwelling on past regrets or worrying about things that might happen in the future.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And all that mental chatter keeps us stuck in a low vibrational state. But when we're fully present, we're no longer caught in those thought loops.
So it's like being present frees up our energy to vibrate at a higher frequency then.
Exactly. They even offer a simple technique for anchoring ourselves in the present moment. Whenever you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just stop and ask yourself, what is wrong at this exact moment?
That's a good tip. I'm definitely going to try that.
The answer will often be nothing. And then we realize that most of our stress comes from thoughts about things that aren't actually happening right now.
So by bringing ourselves back to the present moment, we're basically cutting off the energy supply to those negative thought patterns.
Exactly. And this shift in focus from past and future to the present moment is, according to the article, a key to raising our vibration and connecting with that fifth dimension self who is already living in a state of peace, joy, and fulfillment.
Okay, so we've covered the three main things for raising our vibration: awareness, intention, and being present. But how does all of this actually connect to the fifth dimension and collapsing time? It makes some pretty wild claims about that. And to be honest, this is where I start to get a little skeptical.
I think a little healthy skepticism is always a good thing. But even if we don't take the article's claims literally, there's something really intriguing about the idea that by shifting our energy, we can also shift our reality.
That's what I'm really curious about. How does the article propose we actually bridge the gap between our current reality and this fifth dimension self? That's what we'll explore next. Right?
Exactly. That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
So the article goes all in on some really wild ideas here. It says we can actually collapse time and space to like connect with our fifth dimension selves instantly.
Okay, hold on there. Collapse time and space.
Right.
That sounds like, I don't know, something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
How does the article even try to explain that?
Well, it gets super metaphysical here.
Okay.
The article says time, like how we normally think about it, linear, past, present, future.
Right, sequential.
Yeah, it says it's actually an illusion. And that in reality, everything is happening now.
Whoa.
Past, present, future.
Okay.
All existing at the same time.
My brain's starting to hurt just a little bit, but
Okay.
I gotta admit, the idea that time isn't what we think it is, it's a pretty fascinating concept.
Yeah, it really does challenge how we normally understand reality.
Yeah.
And the article says that by like fully embodying the present moment, like that state of flow we talked about,
Right,
you
right.
can actually transcend the limitations of this linear time and tap into this timeless dimension where everything's happening at once.
So they're saying our fifth dimension selves aren't off in some distant future. They're actually right here, right now. We
Right.
just can't perceive them because we're like trapped in this linear time thing.
Exactly. And by letting go of our attachment to the past and the future and like fully inhabiting the present, we can supposedly collapse the distance between us and them.
Okay, I'm still not sure I totally get this whole collapsing time thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big leap from just, being aware and setting intentions.
I agree. It definitely asks us to consider some things that might seem a little far-fetched at first.
Yeah.
But even if we don't take, every single claim in the article literally, there's something powerful about how much it emphasizes the present moment.
Right. Yeah. We talked about how being present that we can like transcend it somehow.
Well, physics would definitely disagree with the idea that time is an illusion. I mean, time is a fundamental dimension in our understanding of the universe.
Yeah.
But there are some pretty weird and interesting areas of physics, like quantum mechanics, that suggest time might not be as straightforward as we think it is.
Huh. Okay. So maybe there's more to time than we realize. But what about from a psychological perspective? Does being present actually have like tangible benefits?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of research in psychology and neuroscience that shows all the benefits of mindfulness, which is essentially the practice of being present.
Okay.
Studies show that mindfulness can reduce stress, improve focus, help regulate emotions, and even, boost overall well-being.
So even if we're not like collapsing time and space, just being more present in our daily lives can still have a really positive impact.
Exactly. And, that actually lines up with what the article is saying about being present, raising our vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're not stuck dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, we free up all that energy to experience the present moment more fully.
Yeah.
And that's when we start to align with the energy of our fifth dimension selves,
Mm-hmm.
according to the article.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of this fits together.
Right.
Awareness, intention, being present,
Mm.
they all kind of contribute to raising our vibration and bridging the gap between us and our highest potential. But the article goes even deeper, claiming that we are both the creator and the creation. Like, what does that even mean?
This is where the article gets into the idea that we're not separate from the universe,
Yeah.
but actually deeply connected to it.
Okay.
That we are shaping our reality with our thoughts and feelings and actions, but at the same time, being shaped by the reality we're creating.
So it's like a feedback loop.
Right.
We're both influencing the universe and being influenced by it at the same time.
Exactly. And understanding this interconnectedness, according to the article, can help us realize we have a lot more agency and responsibility.
That makes sense. If we really believe that we're co-creating our reality, then we're probably going to make different choices,
Oh.
choices that align with what we want to experience.
Right. It moves us away from that victim mentality,
Mm.
like things are just happening to us, and into more of a creator mentality where we understand we actually have the power to shape our experience.
I like that. It's a lot more empowering.
It is.
But the article doesn't stop there.
Nope.
It goes on to talk about living beyond time, basically transcending our limited 3D perception of time and tapping into our limitless potential.
Right.
Honestly, this is where I really start to get lost.
I can see why that might feel like a stretch.
Yeah.
It's definitely asking us to imagine a reality very different from our everyday experience. But let's see if we can unpack it a bit.
Okay.
The article is saying that in the fifth dimension, time doesn't exist the same way it does here. Everything is happening now.
So all those dreams and desires we have, they're not out there in some far-off future.
Right.
They're already happening in this timeless dimension.
That's what the article suggests, yeah.
Huh.
And it claims that the only thing separating us from those desires is our belief that they're in the future. Our minds are so conditioned to believe that time is linear, that we have to wait for things to happen, that we create a sort of energetic barrier between ourselves and what we want.
So you're saying, like, our perception of time is actually preventing us from reaching our full potential?
That's the idea. The article suggests that by letting go of our attachment to linear time and embracing the idea that everything is actually happening now, we can start to, align with the energy of our desires and pull them into our current reality.
Okay, but how do we actually do that? How do we let go of this belief in linear time that's so deeply ingrained in us? It's not like we can just snap our fingers and suddenly experience time differently.
You're right, it's definitely a process. And the article does suggest a few techniques to help us shift our perception of time. One is visualization.
Ah, visualization. I've heard about that before, like with the law of attraction. You basically create this vivid mental picture of yourself experiencing what you want.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the article says that by regularly visualizing ourselves, lived our dream life, our brains start to fire the same neural pathways as if it were actually happening.
Whoa.
So even though it's just happening in our minds, our brains don't know the difference between imagination and reality.
So it's not just about seeing it, it's about feeling it too.
Exactly. It's about embodying the energy of what we want to create.
Okay, I can see how that would be really powerful. If you're constantly feeding your mind and body those positive emotions that go along with your dreams, maybe it does start to shift your reality in that direction.
And the article even suggests that we can use our fifth dimension selves as a guide in our everyday lives
How do we do that?
by asking ourselves, what would my fifth dimension self do in this situation?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, it's like we're inviting that higher vibrating version of ourselves to help inform our choices and actions.
I like that.
And by continually aligning with that energy of our fifth dimension selves, the article says we can start to close the gap between dimensions and manifest our desires more quickly and effortlessly.
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely getting a lot to think about here.
Me too.
So we've talked about awareness, intention, being present, collapsing time, and even this idea that we are both the creator and the creation.
Right.
But the article keeps coming back to this concept of living beyond time.
It does.
What does it actually mean to live beyond time?
Well, the article describes living beyond time as this state of being where we're no longer limited by our three-dimensional perception.
Okay.
It's about tapping into our limitless potential and recognizing that everything we want is already available to us right here, right now.
So it's about bringing that fifth dimension energy into our everyday lives.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it suggests that this shift in how we see things can have a huge impact, not only on our personal lives, but also on the world around us.
That's what I was just thinking about. This whole conversation has been focused on our own personal journey of raising our vibration and connecting with our fifth dimension selves. But what about the collective? Does the article say anything about how all of this ties into the bigger picture?
Yeah, it does touch on the collective aspect a bit. It suggests that when we tap into our fifth dimension selves, we're not just transforming our own lives, but actually contributing to a higher vibration for the whole planet.
Wow, that's a big claim. How do they even explain that?
They use this analogy of a tuning fork. You know how when one tuning fork vibrates, it can cause other tuning forks nearby to start vibrating at the same frequency?
Right, yeah.
Well, they're suggesting our individual vibrations have a similar effect on, like, the collective consciousness.
So like we're all connected and our energy is influencing the energy of everyone around us.
Exactly. And the article says that as more people raise their vibration, it creates this ripple effect, raising the collective consciousness of humanity.
Okay, so it's not just about creating a better life for ourselves. It's also about contributing to a better world for everyone.
Yeah, that's what they're suggesting. It claims that by, living beyond time, embracing our fifth dimension selves, and radiating love and compassion and joy, we become like beacons of light,
Ooh, I like that.
inspiring others to do the same.
That's a beautiful image. It's like we're all part of this giant energy grid. And when we raise our own frequency, we're helping to light up the grid for everyone else.
It is a beautiful idea, and it really speaks to the power of collective action. Just imagine the transformation we could create if we all committed to living from a place of higher awareness, intention, and presence.
That's a world I would love to live in, a world where we're all supporting each other's growth and evolution and co-creating a reality that truly reflects our highest potential.
It's a really inspiring vision. And even if we don't fully buy into, all the metaphysical aspects of the article, I think it offers a really powerful message about how interconnected we all are and the impact we have on the world around us.
I totally agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of vibrating at a higher frequency, what are some of the key takeaways we can leave with?
Well, I think the first one has to be awareness, right?
Yeah.
Becoming more conscious of our thoughts and emotions, the energy we're putting out into the world,
Yeah.
because that energy is constantly shaping our reality, whether we're aware of it or not.
Right. Awareness is like the foundation for everything else. And once we're aware, we can actually start making choices that support our growth and evolution.
And that brings us to the second takeaway, intention. Setting a clear intention for how we want to show up in the world, what kind of energy we want to radiate, and what kind of reality we want to create.
And that intention doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as choosing to focus on positive thoughts, practicing gratitude, being kind to ourselves and others.
Exactly. It's about aligning our actions with what we want to see happen and trusting that the universe will help us manifest those desires.
And of course, that third takeaway, the power of being present. Letting go of the past, releasing worry about the future, and fully immersing ourselves in the experience of this moment.
Because as we've been talking about, the present moment is where our true power lies.
Yeah.
It's where we can access our highest vibration and connect with that limitless potential that we all have inside.
So even if we're not totally ready to embrace the idea of collapsing time and space or living in the fifth dimension, we can still benefit so much from just bringing those three elements, awareness, intention, and presence, into our everyday lives.
Absolutely. And, who knows, maybe just by focusing on these practices, we'll start to experience little glimpses of that fifth dimension energy ourselves, those moments of flow and synchronicity where everything seems to just fall into place.
I think this deep dive has given me a lot to think about, and I'm really curious to hear what our listeners take away from it as well.
Me too. We always love hearing your thoughts and insights.
Yeah, so keep the conversation going, because maybe, just maybe, by raising our own individual vibrations, we can actually start to create a collective reality that is more loving, more joyful, and more aligned with our true potential as human beings.
That's a beautiful thought to end on.
I think so too. Until next time, keep vibrating higher.
See you then.